happen. If you're not working, this is why a lot of systems, they'll teach you how to activate Kundalini, but they won't teach you that you have to clear mutations out of the strands. This is why people will have bad Kundalini crashes. Some people that work with Eastern philosophies, they'll have real bad trips. You swear they took LSD and had a bad trip or something. They took a Kundalini trip. But they did it with distortions they didn't know they had. And those distortions will be amplified when you bring the currents through. If you work with Bio-Regenesis technologies, even the temporary Maharic seal, if you use that while you're using any of the other things, it will harmonize anything that starts to get misaligned. It will also shut down if you brought too much frequency in. If you have the Maharic seal up, it will regulate it and it will shut it down so you can't bring any more in until your body synthesizes it. You can look at the Maharic seal as bringing a part of your Christos consciousness down into a pillar around you. So even if you don't get it, that part of you does, and it will help you to regulate the frequencies. So there are various kinds, and some of them can be very fun. You know, they're like meditations, you can relax with them, but you're actually doing the mathematical coding in the body that's going to help to clear the strand templates and little pieces of them. You can look at it as like the little details, the codes in the strands. They're just as important as the big codes in the strands. The Bio-Regenesis will go for different specific areas of the detail, some of it big, some of it small. This is another one, the master key codes. This is something they just threw at me 3 days ago. When they told me I was supposed to start doing privates again, they told me this about 2 weeks ago. Now I used to do every once in a while private sessions with people who wanted them, and we did what was called Beta-Huva scans, which were DNA template scans, just to see what the strand content was and that kind of stuff. I started getting sick from doing them because it required me to pull too much energy in from the person's field to read, and I was processing too much of their stuff. Of course, that was before we had the ability to use the Maharic seal, because the grids couldn't hold a 12-code pulse then. Well, I was told to stop doing readings, but recently I was asked to start doing them again. Whole different kind of reading. This was fascinating. Did my first, yeah, a couple people who were here, did the first ones like 2 days ago. I'm losing track of days because I haven't slept all night, but they were fascinating. They were finding what's called the master key codes. What is a master key code? And then they showed me this whole system. It's going to be part of the Kathara healing program at some point. But right now it's like level 5 Kathara, but we don't have time to get to there, so they're just using it this way. Every person in their personal Maharic shield has very specific symbol codes that are the master trigger codes for their Maharic template and for the fire codes. This is where you get into the real personal level. We can activate our tribal shield together because we're all part of the human tribe. But then there's the individual part of you. That has very specific symbol codes. I asked, well, why can't we just show people how to find them? And they said, because it'll take them anywhere from 2 to 8 years to be able to access that directly when they're starting from here. I said, you've already been working with this stuff for the last 25 years. You have an advantage. Use it. Help them. And I was asked to give readings to people if they wanted them, and I was learning as we went along. They were telling me, here is how you do it. It came out really neat where you would end up, it was a 12-month program, and you ended up with 3 master codes, and they're pulled from your field. They had me pull them from here, an imprint of them, from the base of the spine, because this information is held in your bodies at the base of the spine, the first of the first 8 cells. And it's where the Christos spark comes in. It carries your core template symbol codes. And then there's a way to use these to progressively bring them into, more activation. So this was another thing. I guess I'm still giving them. I don't know. I'm not usually around for privates, but if anybody's interested in them, I would come up. I would make a trip for that if people wanted it. I'd rather find a way to teach you how to do it yourself, because I don't like people getting dependent on me because I can't always be there. But they just it didn't tell me any further on that, to be honest with you. So as it stands, the only thing I can offer on master codes is I can tell you you have them. They told me it takes about 2 to 8 years to get an accurate read out of your own system. And it's kind of like a catch-22. The more of the Maharata you can bring through, the clearer you can get it. But until you can get those codes, you're not going to bring as much of the Maharata. It's like, it's a catch-22 thing. This is where they get into this too, the Melchizedek ordinations, level 3 ordination, which is a regent ordination. it begins to release the sacral seals, or the cranial sacral seals. And not all of them, but it gives them a jump start to somebody who can run the rainbow ray frequencies from the primal sound fields. If they can hold that, which would be a level 5 or 6 minister. Now the levels aren't who's better than who. It's about how much frequency you can hold in the body and in the DNA template. Level 5 and 6 ministers are indigo children. They are Magi, because they wouldn't be able to hold that much frequency as just a 12-strand human template. So we offer these. The Azurite Temple offers them. This is the first time we've been allowed in the last, I think, 6 months it's been, since they said we could do level 3 ordinations. They are usually reserved only for inner earth and higher places. Usually they never give them on earth here. But it's an activation that will, again, working with the other things, will give a jump start to your whole system, your whole spiritual integration process. They're doing it now because if somebody doesn't get functional to run these gates, there's going to be a lot of people very dysfunctional, and they know that. So they're basically saying, here it is, whoever can take it, understand it enough to grab it and run. We hope you will. Not for their sakes, but for ours. So these are the 4 things, or 5 things, that work together. When you use the things together, you will get faster. Like the question was asked, how long does it take? If you're just doing tribal shield, but you're not doing any of the others, it'll take longer than if you're doing the others. That kind of thing. So it'll be very personal. But I would say they want to have everybody that they can activated as high as possible by probably January 1st of 2002. Now, it doesn't mean we're all going to be able to hold the full 12-strand activation, but it should mean that if we're interested in working the programs, we should be able to hold bursts of it and to turn it on temporarily. And your soul usually regulates that, your higher level of consciousness, because you're not going to be sure yet. You know, well, gee, let's turn it on for 4 minutes and see what happens. You know, so it gets regulated from higher levels of consciousness. But the feeling I'm getting, they haven't told me specifically, but just because I know some of the crucial times that are coming up, we have a lot of work that we're supposed to be doing this year. We're going to Kauai in May, then we're going to Ireland, which we'll find out tomorrow why Ireland's so important. You know, this part amazed me, but that's tomorrow's story. We're going to Ireland and to England, and if those things are successful, then we'll probably be going back to Peru to finish something that they undid after we did it. It has to be redone. Yep.